So before we begin, I need to get this off my chest. Like when my partner sent me all the stuff to make the video, it took me like a decent 30 minutes to actually translate that into English because his handwriting is worse than Brendan's, and Brendan's handwriting is like worse than like the chicken scratching a piece of paper. Yeah, so our Fermi question was how many lines of code does it take to program the world's app? So how many lines of code does it take to program the world's apps? Yeah, man, I am looking at the script and there's a lot of big words, so I'm gonna have to prepare myself based off the various categories within the Google Play Store as well as the App Store. I would infer that there are about 10 million apps in the world's app market. For our educated guess, we took an average of 5,000 lines of code per app. This is because we took into account the conditional statements, the arrays of code, as well as a multitude of strings and functions within the app that have to be programmed. Now, on to the best part of the video with dimensional analysis.
Yeah. Everybody's got a thing, but some don't know how to handle it. Always reaching out in vain, just taking the things not worth having.
All of our number statistics can be found at statistica.com. This video is not sponsored. So, the tech media outlet concluded that there are about 10,000 lines of code for an average app. And our guess was 5,000, so we were halfway there. 5,000 off. We're pretty close, I would say. All that's left now is the number of apps that are in the Apple Store and the Google Play Store. So the Apple Store has a whopping 2.2 million apps that are, downloadable, while the Google Play Store has 2.8 million, a little above the App Store. And combined, they have an average of 5 million apps. Now all we have to do is plug in the new information into our equation. In a conclusion, the process that we used to find our educated guess consisted of prior knowledge that we had in regards to app development. So because of the many components of app development that go together in order for that to work, we estimated 5,000 lines. Using that number, we applied it to the estimate of 10 million apps in the App Store. With these two assumptions, we created the equation n times a equals t, where we would get our end result, which is the total lines of code it would take to program the world's apps. We used the same exact process when formulating our actual answer, except we conducted research on both of our assumptions and acquired the actual numbers and then plugged them into our equation. In regards of sources of error, our calculation could become completely irrelevant. Mobile software engineers are publishing apps on the daily, and the App Store keeps increasing in number of apps. So our result would be lower than the actual number of lines it takes to program the newest apps. Lines of code could seriously vary from every single app. So while the 10,000 is the average, other apps may have well above that number or below that number, rendering our calculation as inaccurate.